All right, fellers, well, we are back and we are on the F100 Mustang build. So I have been kind of procrastinating because I got to finish that dash, and as you guys can see, she's looking good. She is looking good. If you missed out on what we're dealing with here, oh yeah, she is a wolf in sheep's clothing. What we're doing today though is the dash. So as you can see, this is the full 2016 Mustang 4-pan dash, all the controls, the HVAC. Clearly I'm not gonna just have the original dash go in there, and I didn't want to use the factory Mustang dash, which I could have. What I want to do is use this factory dash, some of the style lines. I'm gonna integrate the factory Mustang cluster into here. So I still want this space, but all these switches, holes for ignition, glove box, ashtray, none of that stuff we are gonna use. I just want to have not a full sheet metal dash. I want to have this top, you know, kind of ridge that runs here, this style line and stuff. And then when the dash runs down, it pokes back in. That ain't gonna clearly. It just runs into here. So that's gonna have to run straight down. So gonna cut the bottom of this off, end up sheet metaling down, building off of that. You can see I kind of got started without you here, built a little template. When I push the dash in here, it's a little short, so a little filler piece. We're gonna cut that out of some 20 gauge sheet metal over here, patch that in, clearance this a little bit. Dash is gonna also have to get clearanced on the side. Cut this down, because if you notice, I don't know if you guys can see over here, but this door, when they're shut, this door is shut, it protrudes into the passenger compartment. So this bulkhead from the door here on this door card, it's got to be clearanced in. So we'll start trimming and cutting. Bought some pretty cheap sheet metal stuff from Eastwood. We're gonna give her a go. Never done a lot of sheet metal stuff, so I've been putting it off because I don't really know where to start. I don't want to mess something up, but I got a truck just like this in the backyard with a dash, so I could always pull that dash if I really screw this dash up. But gotta just get started. So all right, enough chit chat, let's get to work. All right, guys, we're making some progress. We've got the little panel here, patch panel in the cowl, kind of tacked in. It's gonna allow us to extend that dash back a little bit and tie in the dash. You can kind of see what I was talking about here. This dash curves in, it's hitting all this dash structure. So really the styling I want to keep for the F100 is just this top, you know, dash portion. Everything else is going to be pretty much filled. Most likely trim this down, pull it in, and we'll just keep chipping away at her and see what she looks like. Unfortunately, I used 20 gauge steel right there. I couldn't get a sheet very easily. The one sheet I did get with this big long strip, you can see over here by Bo's monster truck, I had to cut the stinking thing right in half. So I'm gonna probably have to find some more sheet metal to finish some stuff in the back, or maybe I'll use aluminum to panel it up, some 16 gauge if it's structural, but cut my sheet right in half. So hopefully I can still get some pieces out of it, but let's keep getting going on this dash, trimming up the factory one and see if we can start to make her fit.
This side also can get was because maybe I need to use some metal.
This fender?
Need to use some of my metal when I'm done cutting it?
Already.
Okay, sounds good. Well, got the dash cut down. The old safety squints were not working very good again today because all this abrasives from these discs keeps getting in my eyes. And my nice little, don't tell my wife, apparently these flannels you get from Kohl's or wherever my wife bought it for me aren't great with sparks from the cutoff wheel. So I guess we'll move on. All right, boys, still chipping away on the dash. It's been a couple days, maybe a couple weeks. Holiday season, it's been really cold, and I've been really unmotivated. So what we're gonna continue on with is sitting in here. I think this is the angle I want it to be at. It's a little rock back. I don't want it to be straight up. I have this big thing right here. So basically, we're gonna have to kind of roll these edges with some sheet metal. I got some 20 gauge, filling this whole thing here back in and kind of fold this metal into this plastic console, and then we'll end up wrapping the whole thing in leather. I think the best way to do it, I've been wrapping my mind around it, but there's this edge around this whole infotainment system. This has the push button start, all the controls, pretty much everything's ran off this control screen, and that's kind of what I want to keep. So I want it at that angle. I think the best thing to do is I know where I want this, so I need to just kind of fix it in place, and then I can run a skeleton with this stuff right here. So I got some 3/4 inch little rod stock from my metal supplier. So I'm gonna bend that up, bend up that 3/8 inch, or I think it's 3/16 rod stock. We'll bend it up and make just a little perimeter, a little cage to catch, to secure this whole unit around here. This is the screen for the backup camera. Everything else kind of goes in there. We'll have to figure out how to secure that. Maybe run a perimeter here and then capture it here as well. There's some plugins for all the other controls. Here's some more controls from the dash, or the steering wheel. We'll build a little metal bracket and have that kind of down in one of those panels down to the right of the steering wheel down here. But I think the best approach is build that skeleton and then weld some little arms in to here. So then I just got this skeleton frame of how I want that infotainment. I know that's where I want it. And then I can just slope those little 3/16 rods and build the frame so it looks good, and then wrap sheet metal around it. Okay, it's recording, no pressure. This isn't going to be on the internet. Oh good, look, we got Bo. He's working too. What you working on, bud? We're all family. We're doing work in the garage here.
I'm working on my truck.
All right, over here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
when
nice.
I'm done working on my truck, I'm going to play Among Us in here.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Okay.
This will be my Among Us.
Okay, good idea. We're going to get back to work.
Okay.
Let's set this up. All right, here we go. Here, get out of the way there, fuzz face. Okay.
Go wink at the camera. Give him a good wink or a good eyebrow.
Wink or thumbs up.
Yeah. Eyebrow thing. Like this, Bo. Go. Bo. Bo. Look at mommy. Go this.
All right. Can they see us, Bo? All right, so we bent up metal pieces, me and the wife. First time. The radiuses look really good. I'm actually very happy. Other than it having to be a two-person operation, the radiuses look really nice. Had to cut it in half to fit into the roller and make it work, but that doesn't matter. It's kind of wonky to show. I gotta trim down this piece because it's in here, but basically, you know, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of hard. Here's just one side. I gotta cut down here because it's interfering here, but basically, you know, the radius right here. It's gonna fit the console. Everything's gonna look good, and it's gonna drop down to this console where we can tie it in.
Dad, look.
What?
This fits.
Oh, nice work. We can wrap it and then tie it into the console, so I like it. I think the radius, we'll just trim some of this stuff down, start getting it in, tack this all in here, but we got it bent up here and we'll just keep moving on. All right, boys. Looking pretty slick. Still got some nice edges. I mean, it's bubbled out a little bit. We see some hammer marks here. Nothing too drastic, but what we're trying to get is this plate here is flat, obviously, and this was all rocked up. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we got it nice and flat. Didn't deform this too much. Well, let's look at some of the progress. The crux of every body swap vehicle is the interior, the dash especially. So kind of getting hung up on this. Let's look and see what we're working with here. So got the dash in. We just review, added a little patch panel back here, ground the back of the dash so we could pull it back, kind of clear all of this factory Mustang stuff. For those of you that are following along, or this is a new video, obviously it's a 2016 Mustang, everything chassis with a body swap of 1962 Ford Unibody F100. A lot of modifications. To do these kinds of things and make them look good, you have to take the time to do the dash. If you don't do the dash, it's gonna look janky. And I didn't want this to look janky, so bear with me, I'm taking time on this, and let me kind of give you an update. So as we said, built the extension off the back there, able to pull the dash in, made a patch panel here where the glove box was. I extended about 1 inch down and then put a nice little 3/8 inch round radius all the way along the bottom of that dash. Tack that in place. And I think that's going to be a good look up to here. You guys kind of saw what we were working with these, the initial bezel for the dash section here, which basically has the control unit that controls everything, and it stuck out, I mean, like super far. So it's this big flat piece. It doesn't really match the curvatures and different things with the interior. I'm not completely set, or I don't completely hate it, but I'm looking at it and it kind of reminds me of a kit car, you know, and I don't want this truck to look like a kit car. I want it to look like a kind of cool custom F100. And if you know what you're looking at, you're going to start going, wait a second, and then you'll see this is, you know, on the chassis of a modern muscle car. I don't want it to look like the first time you see like this thing is a hack job, and you have to do this interior right to make that happen. So looking at it, looked like a kit car with that huge dash with the bezel in the middle, and then it was just a big flat block, like almost like you made the interior out of plywood. I don't like that, so I kind of pulled it out and just framed off this wire frame we made for that insert of the infotainment center, and kind of just ran tape to fit this contour. Obviously with steel this would be a lot different, contour would be more smooth and whatever. And then this is going to be a metal panel here. Obviously we'll build a little box to cover some of those modules and whatnot, but I kind of like this. It's way less bulky. It's not this huge flat piece, so I think I can build just sheet metal off of these edges and run it down and contour this stuff a lot nicer. And then worst case, I can put some foam and sand the foam down and then wrap everything in leather, and it'll actually blend and look good and form into the dash, and everything will look nice. So I think that's what the plan is. But so far I like the bezel, a little 3/8 inch along the bottom. Here it's going to be, you know, some more compound curves. I realize I'm going to have to get an English wheel. Alls I'm working with is my little bead roller from Eastwood. I realized Harbor Freight sells a pretty cheap English wheel. I'm going to get that, try to make some of these curves. I need a strinker stretcher. But I think this is a good starting point with the bezel. This is all set up. We've got to finish some of this bulkhead stuff here. We'll extend, tie it in, weld it in, cap it up, make all this stuff look good. But for now, I think that's a good spot to get a couple more tools, continue on with this. The console, I'm still debating. I may use the modern one. You guys saw earlier in some of the video, you can see the console. I think we can wrap it in leather that matches this leather, and it'll actually still look really good. So it's up in air. I don't think it'll be hard to actually make a metal console and just fit all these e-brake and stick shift and the cup holders and things like that. We could do that, but the biggest thing is how to integrate this portion into this. And I think we got the dash set up right. This is just gauge insert is just to kind of keep the structure rigidity of the dash while I'm kind of hammering and moving it around. I'm going to cut this whole thing out, sheet it with metal, because we have to input the Mustang gauges. I'll kind of go over how we're going to do that and make it look good still, hopefully, and we'll see. But that's a good start. I want to get something else done right now, which is install these seats. I've been kind of holding off, waiting on seats. Good news is the seats came in and they are awesome. Super comfy, super stylish. I like the look. One of the problems with these chassis swaps, especially when a car chassis onto a truck body, car chassis have this huge dip in the wells. So these footwells go way down low and the cars sit really low to the ground. Well, then you just chunk a truck on top of it, and the window, like if I have a seat bracket that's made for this Mustang and I sit down in it, my head is like just barely out of the window. So, and I don't like that. I've built cars and they were like that. And I have my arm like this out the window. So I look like a NASCAR racer, you know, where they're sitting super low in the ground or in the car, but I don't like it for cruising. So we have to build, I've got the seats, I got the harnesses, I've got some brackets that bolt into the Mustang floor pan and bolt into the seats. I'm gonna have to build some extensions off the floor pan. Obviously, this is a car where you can see in the back here, this runs back into like the back passenger compartment of the car. That's not gonna happen here. So the seats, they'll build to their slide, they have sliders in them, they'll slide way back and we don't go that far back. So I gotta move the seats forward, up, some custom brackets to mount the slider bracket on that, place the seats, get everything in orientation with the wheel. Obviously this steering wheel is gonna go away. It's gonna keep this console. I think we can still make it work with the leather and the finished interior, but I wanna get started on that. So we are gonna get, this is gonna end this video. We're gonna start, next one we're gonna get the seats, and then after the seats are in, I can finish this cage. So I'm gonna tie this rear frame section, 3.75 inch DOM tied into a B-hoop pillar through here, and then we'll build seatbelt bars and all that stuff, and probably build a bar from that B-hoop down into the front floor right here, just so everything's nice and tight in the chassis and tied together. So I think that's a good spot to end it, and I'm excited. She's coming together. I think we've got a way forward with the interior. So as always, thanks for watching. God bless and long live hot rodding.